Alright, in this video I start out fighting a bunch of pillagers. From there do a little adventuring, and then towards the end of the video I end up fighting one of the bosses on this mod, and he beat me up. If this is your first time being here, welcome to the channel. If you could really help me out, if you could like and subscribe to the video, again, really helps me out a lot. Other than that, let's just get straight into the stories. The first story. Am I the a-hole for making my daughter-in-law cry when proving the earth was round? This is stupid, and I really don't feel like I am in the wrong. I am not going to hide that I am not a huge fan of my daughter-in-law. She can be a moron, and we have clashed over basic things. My two grandkids are at my place twice a week. I like NASA, and I've been staying up to date with the Artemis 2 journey. My two grandkids are 5 and 7. They saw me watching and were confused, the best way to put it. They thought it was fake because their mom told them that things in space were fake. I assumed she was talking about space movies, not overall the fact people went to space. I decided to show them the moon landing and some takeoffs. I asked them if they wanted to see a double sunset. This is when you lay down and watch the sun go down. The moment you don't see it, you stand up and get somewhere higher and you will see the sunset again because the earth is curved. My daughter-in-law showed up when we were waiting for the sun to go down. We did the little experiment and they saw the sunset twice. The boys had a great time. I made a comment that this is one way to show the earth is a big ball. My daughter-in-law had issues with that. She told me that I am not telling the truth and that the earth isn't round. I was confused and she told me the earth was flat. I started grilling her why she thought that, and she couldn't give me a reason. I asked her to explain why the other planets were round or why we could see a double sunset. I asked her why boats disappear in the distance from the bottom up. She got upset and said I was calling her stupid. I didn't say it out loud, but this is literally my definition of stupid, thinking the earth was flat. She left with the kids. I got a call from my son saying his wife has been crying, that the boys keep asking her space questions and not believing what she says because I showed them the other videos. He told me I have to apologize and that I overstepped. I told him I won't apologize because the earth is literally round. He said he knows, but I need to apologize to keep the peace. End story. I wouldn't say you're an asshole at all. I wouldn't say you did anything wrong either. Your daughter-in-law's a dumbass. I don't understand how people could be shown facts on a matter, shown studies on a matter, years of research on a matter, and just video proof, audio proof, picture proof, and still be in denial. I don't get people like that. She's just stupid. I wouldn't apologize. I would just say, hey, I agree to disagree. I didn't mean to make you upset. I don't know if that's considered an apology. My intentions weren't to make you upset, but we can agree to disagree on this issue and just keep it pushing. I don't feel like you need to apologize because you didn't do anything wrong. You pretty much showed these kids what they would be taught in school. So if a teacher was telling these kids that the world was round, would she storm into the school and start cussing people out and crying because the majority of the world believes that the world is round because it actually is? And the fact that she didn't have any answers for any of your questions. Why do boats disappear from the bottom up? Why can you see the sunset from different angles? She didn't have answers for anything. So she's just proud to be wrong and doesn't want to be shown proof, just purposely ignorant. You can't argue with stupid. So no, don't apologize, and no, you're not an asshole. She's just stupid. Am I the a-hole? Husband cut off my son's hair, so I used his credit card to buy my son the designer jacket he's been wanting. My son is 17 and pretty much all of his life has had long hair. He had long, thick, and very well-maintained black hair that went just past his chest, and he loved it. My husband, his stepdad, has never been a fan of it, and he has always thought it was girly. He's never been mean or cruel about it to my son's face, but he has said to me that he thinks he should cut it off. The two of them got into a huge fight because my son has been skipping his classes, and my husband decided that to punish him, he was going to cut his hair. I don't know how it went down, but when I came home, my son was crying and cutting his own hair in the mirror. I asked him what was wrong and what he was doing, and he told me my husband had randomly cut his hair short in spots, and now he had to cut it really short to even it out and make it look okay. I went and spoke to my husband to find out the specifics of what happened from his side as well, and it ended up in yelling because while I don't agree with my son skipping classes, I felt that cutting his hair over it was cruel and horrible when this could have been resolved another way. To cheer up my son, I bought him this affliction leather jacket that he wanted for a while out of my husband's money. My husband found out and was furious, but I told him he shouldn't have cut my son's hair and he can do this as an apology. It's going to take years for my son's hair to grow back, but my husband can make that money back quickly. Am I the asshole? Looking at some of the replies for this post, I see a lot of people are calling you an asshole by saying you allowed this man into your son's life, you allowed your husband to do all this. But from my perspective, just like you said, you came home and found out about this. Everything had already happened, and I feel like you did the responsible thing and you got both sides. You went to your son, talked to him, you went to your husband, talked to him. And from my perspective, I feel like you took your son's side, unlike a lot of the comments that I read following up under this post. A lot of people feel like you didn't protect your son in that situation, when again, everything was already done. She spoke to her husband, and I agree with you. Overall, I feel like your husband's an asshole for punishing him in that way without informing you first, without having you involved. Overall, that's where the issue stems from. I'm not going to bash you as hard as these other people are saying that you let this man abuse your son, you let this man do this, you let this man do that. And then some people telling you to talk to your son, and you even followed up in some of the stories talking about how your son has said other things have been going on for years and how you're dealing with it legally. So I don't think you're an asshole. I feel like from my perspective, you're handling it the best way you can. You're getting both sides and you're taking actions, and I feel like you're defending your son. You're taking your son's side. I don't agree with the comments that are saying that are against you taking your son's side. A lot of these comments are just assuming you didn't do anything besides buy the jacket to rectify the situation, when it seems like you've talked to the husband, you're taking steps to make things right and or to address things legally. And one of the posts you said later on about things that have been going on with your son and even your husband's son, which is his stepbrother. So I don't think you're an asshole. I feel like people on the internet are too quick to demonize people instead of really looking at the whole situation. They're too quick to call someone an asshole. The only asshole in the situation is your husband. Things could have been dealt better in that situation, and it's his fault. But good luck to you. The next story. My girlfriend is taking testosterone. It's bothering me. I, 21 male, have a girlfriend, 22 female, who likes bodybuilding and has a workout routine at home. She's always been strong, but now she's taking testosterone to build muscle and speed up her metabolism, consequently losing fat. She loves what she does and feels great about it. The problem is that the side effects have changed her appearance. I wish this didn't bother me, but it's been stronger than me. She was never the feminine type, nor did she wear feminine clothes. However, her facial hair has become very visible and her voice has become deeper. I love her the way she is naturally, but I don't like this new version that reminds me of a man. As a consequence, I have lost sexual interest because of other changes I prefer not to mention. Last week, we talked about it and I suggested removing the hair from her face, and she said she wouldn't because it wouldn't thicken. Okay, I respect that. But I feel really bad because I don't like these changes, and somehow this conversation is affecting her self-esteem. End story. This is a tough one, because you are obviously voicing that you don't like these things. The overwhelming majority of people in your situation probably don't like these things. You've expressed to her that you don't like these things, and instead of her kind of listening to you, she's more so getting offended. And like you said, the conversation's affecting her self-esteem. So this is a sucky situation to be in. I imagine the facial hair is bothering you, her voice deepening, her being more man-like is probably, you said is bothering you. It just kind of sucks that she just took offense instead of really listening to your criticisms, your constructive criticism. You're like, I don't like this version of you. Because even you emphasized that you liked her naturally, like when I assume before she started taking testosterone and all of that. Because you didn't have a problem with her being not the feminine type before. You didn't have a problem with her not wearing feminine clothes before. It's more so just all the side effects of the testosterone. So I would just tell her that, which I assume you did, but just emphasize that. I liked you before. This is the person I liked. You're changing now. And other than that, sheesh. This is tough. This is a really sucky situation to be in. And I know for you, like it probably took you a lot to get to that point where you even had the courage to have that conversation, because I feel like it's hard to tell your woman you don't like something about her. I feel like that's very challenging, because you're coming out of a place of 9 times out of 10 kindness, but it's just so quick that it can turn sour just depending on the situation or what the topic is about. So, hats off to you for even speaking about it, because that is obviously it's a 50-50. Either you do or you don't have a conversation. But sometimes I feel like men, we get ahead of ourselves in situations like that, and we're like, I'd rather this not turn into an argument. I'll just shut up and be unhappy. But you spoke up, so shout out to you. The next story. How can I, 25 female, get my boyfriend 23 male to stop suffer maxing? Hey everyone, I know the title is a little weird, but hear me out. My boyfriend, male 23, really hates spending money on himself and then complains about it. It makes no sense. He earns 6 figures, has no debt, loans, and virtually no cost of living. He lives in a flat his parents bought him. Here's a few examples to explain what I mean. He often complains about his colleagues are all so well dressed and polished, but he still wears the clothes his mom got him when he was 16 that are mostly too small or have holes. He refuses to go shopping for new stuff because he doesn't know what to get. Then gets completely enraged when I point out nice outfits that would suit him well or offer to buy him clothes. He uses his dad's tossed out perfume and complains about how it smells, but also refuses to buy himself one he actually likes. Same goes for food. He only eats fruits and vegetables when I buy them and says how much he loves it, but when he's alone he lives off of dry noodles, plain yogurt, and bread. He even eats moldy and expired food just so it doesn't get thrown out. When I dispose of expired stuff, he throws a fit. He once fed me 5-month-old eggs without my knowledge, resulting in a trip to the ER. He complains about his haircut not suiting him, but refuses to go to a better barber because it's $10 more. He complains about his acne, but won't get the prescription his derm issued him. He complains about being skinny, but now that he's built a bit of muscle, he's whining about how he doesn't want his shoulders to get broader because then he'd have to get new clothes. He complains about having to take cold showers, but literally nobody but himself is holding him back from letting it warm up a little before hopping in. His suffer maxing is so bad, it kind of started to imprint on me. I feel bad for replacing my shoes when they have holes. I feel guilty for showering with warm water and having a smoothie every morning instead of stale bread with nothing. It's really starting to piss me off, and I really need help understanding what causes this and how I can gently encourage him to get the things he likes, live a little, and embrace growth. Are there any men here who have been like this and have successfully overcome it? This one is dumb. Your boyfriend makes 6 figures. His house is paid off by his parents, and he just sits there and complains about his life and refuses to do anything about it. And like you, in the term you put it, he's suffer maxing. He just sounds like a miserable person. And the fact that he's choosing to be miserable, because to an extent, I'm the same way. I don't really like spending money on myself. There's not too many things that I want. There's not too many things I desire to have. I'm pretty straightforward. For example, I lived in the same house since I was 18 years old, and I've done nothing to it. And then my wife came into my life, and now this house looks completely different. It looked the exact same all those years I lived in it. From when I bought it, it looked exactly the same until her. So I get not doing anything, extravagant, spending money on this, spending money on that. If you're a very simple person, again, I don't spend money on myself. I get that aspect, but he's taking it to a whole nother level. He's not spending money on his needs, things that he actually needs. He needs new clothes. He needs a haircut. He needs food. He's not spending money on his needs. There's something wrong with him. Like, just to put it simply, and I'm not a psychology major. I don't know psychology of the everyday man's mind, but there's something clearly wrong with him. He enjoys being miserable and not doing anything about it. He has all the resources to fix all these things that you've said he complains about. Has all the resources. If he has no debt, has nothing, he has literally all the money in the world to take care of all these needs and wants that he has, but he's refusing to. And it's to the point where you're starting to feel that way and it's starting to affect you. I wouldn't let his misery weigh you down. I don't know what the answer is for him. If you have it like that, I would just get this stuff for him. As far as like little things here and there, I'm not saying like take care of everything, but like stuff that he needs. Like, hey, here's a pack of socks. Hey, here's a new shirt I thought you would like. Stuff like that. I feel like it's a good stepping stone. And then maybe, because you said he gets pissed when you suggest clothes for him. So I don't know. He just is a miserable person. Good luck to you. Good luck to your relationship. Like, he's just weird, bro. He's a masochist. He's a masochist squared. He just enjoys suffering. So don't suffer with him. Just, watch from the sidelines as much as you can. And if it really starts to eat away at your life, then you might have to go. Good luck. Sidelined by my female 34 fiancés, male 38 groomswoman, female 37. Hi everyone. I could really use some outside perspective. I, 34 female, am engaged to my fiance, male 38, and we're currently planning our wedding. He is a groomswoman, female 37, who has been very close to since university. He considers her one of the most cherished people in his life, and he also calls her and her family his family. He has always denied that there was ever anything romantic or sexual between them. Here's where I'm struggling. We decided together that we'd pay for the bridesmaids' dresses and the groomswoman's dress, and that everyone would wear the same dress for uniformity. My fiance asked me to coordinate directly with her. When I reached out, she was unhappy with the dress choice and suggested a bunch of alternatives. We were paying for the dresses. My fiance knew this was happening, but didn't step in, and I felt like I had to defend our decision on my own. At our engagement party, instead of discussing ideas with me, he went to her to brainstorm games during the party. He also intentionally told me she'd handle her own hair and makeup for the wedding, but when she mentioned needing help, he quickly moved to arrange it for her. He strongly insisted that she should give a speech at the wedding. While I felt that we had too many speeches and only the maid of honor and best man/groomsman should, this turned into a fight before he eventually backed down after our event manager agreed with me, but it added to the overall tension around her role in our wedding. I've brought this up with him multiple times, that I feel sidelined when he defaults to her or stays silent when there's tension. He has acknowledged my concerns each time and stated that I am his priority, but the behavior hasn't really changed over the past few weeks. Recently, her family invited us over for Easter. I told my fiance I was interested in starting our own traditions as a couple and was uncomfortable going over to their place for Easter. Eventually, he ended up going to their Easter gathering on his own. At this point, I'm honestly feeling worn down and questioning things more seriously than I expected to. I've even started wondering whether calling off the wedding is something I need to consider if this dynamic doesn't change. Does this situation warrant that level of concern? How would you approach this before making a decision that big? I mean, if you're going into the marriage already feeling this way, then I don't see it getting much better. Because I got a second opinion from my wife. She was like, if you're going into this marriage where he's already not prioritizing you, like you guys aren't married yet, and he's not prioritizing you over another woman, then it's only going to get worse. It's only going to be something you continue to fight about. And then not only are you guys going to fight about it, eventually he's probably going to be going to her about the arguments. So that's another layer to think about. If you're feeling uneasy now and you're feeling unheard about the situation, then I don't think you're too insane or too crazy for wanting to call it quits, because you feel like he's not taking your side. You feel like whenever things get tense, he just shuts down and becomes silent and lets you defend both of you by yourself. So it's an unlucky situation. One of the funnier comments is, why are you marrying this woman's boyfriend? So that's kind of the sentiment everyone in the comments I kind of agree with are on the same time length. Yeah, like, because ultimately it seems like he cherishes her. That's what you said. You said he considers their family your family. He went to their family's house on Easter without you, even though you both were invited. He didn't stay home. Yeah, he kind of prioritizes that relationship. And it'd be different if you were like, nah, I don't want to go. You can go though. But if you said, hey, this is that makes you uncomfortable, let's make our own tradition, and he's like, nah, then yeah, he's just gonna continue to prioritize her over you when it comes to situations like that. So you're not a terrible person for feeling uneasy. Whatever you choose to do, wish you the best. The last story today wanted to end on something a little lighthearted. Getting caught faking a freeze at a work meeting. I work from home, and this morning I had a meeting I absolutely did not want to be in. We had one of those long-term meetings that should have been an email. Everybody was giving updates. I had my camera on and I was only half paying attention because I was trying to finish my rapid match on chess.com. Dumb choice number one. Then my manager called on me. The problem was I had done the work, but I had completely lost track of where we were in the conversation, so I had no goddamn clue what part he was asking about. I just sat there for a second making that horrible face while 10 people looked at me in dead silence. Right then somebody else said, "I think your audio cut out." And instead of being normal and asking him to repeat the question, I saw an opening and made it worse. I went still. Just completely still. Eyes on the screen, mouth half open, like my connection had frozen at the worst possible moment. For about 2 seconds it was actually working. Nobody said anything, so naturally I committed to it like an idiot. My plan was to mute myself, switch off my camera, lean down and unplug the router under my desk so it would look real for a minute while I got my thoughts together. What I forgot is that I use a separate webcam clipped to my monitor, not my laptop camera. So my whole team watched me hold a fake frozen face, then suddenly move, crouch under the desk, and start feeling around on the floor for the router plug like a hungry raccoon in a trash can. Then my manager goes, "Your camera is still on." I came back up so fast I smacked my head on the desk. Nobody even tried to save me. One coworker turned her camera off because she was laughing. I had to sit there, red as hell, and give it my update after everybody had just watched me sabotage my own fake technical issue in real time. End story. I feel like we've all been there before. I feel like you didn't do anything crazy that a lot of people haven't done. We've all done embarrassing things in the past. And you had to sit there and answer the question anyway. So that was a pretty funny story. Pretty lighthearted one. Kind of reminds me of a story when I was in high school. I used to always grind down the rail or like slide down the rails going downstairs. And I remember one time in gym class, and at least at this school, the gyms were mixed, or at least maybe it was for freshmen. So we had boys and girls in this class. And I remember I was sliding down, bro, straight busted my ass, bro. Everybody turned around so quick. I got up as fast as lightning, but the damage was done, bro. Everyone was just cooking me, laughing at me. It's just straight busted my ass. It was bad. It's been a few times in my life where I've just busted my ass or done something embarrassing, and it's just, you know, you get past those moments. It's one of those things where you just gotta take your licks and, you know, laugh it off and, you know, cry in silence. So we've all been there. But that's pretty much it for the video. If you made it this far in the video, I really appreciate it. I love you, in fact, because you're really helping me out a lot by making it to this point. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for all the support this channel's been getting. It's been growing a lot, been getting a lot of views, and you guys are helping my dreams come true. So thank you again from the bottom of my heart. With that being said, no real message, no real big thing to put a bow on it. So that's it. Bye.